than average. And thanks to our hapless politicians, we now have tens of thousands of Afghan men who may or may not be Taliban, secretly brought to the UK, now living alongside our service families in military accommodation. You really could not make this up. And as for the small boat invaders, well, the government is now closing the migrant hotels and placing groups of these men who, don't forget, we have no idea who they are or where they really come from, into the very hearts of our towns and villages, requisitioning guest houses, blocks of flats, small hotels and HMOs. It is happening by stealth in Kent and all over the country. And still, day by day, the boats keep coming. Once ensconced, these men are free to come and go as they please, and we know that some are working illegally for food delivery companies. How one organises insurance, background checks or a payslip for someone with no ID is beyond me. Another thing we now know is that over 200 of these men living at our expense in our communities have been charged with over 400 offences, 44 of which were sexual offences. And these are just the ones we know about at this moment in time. My residents in Kent are beyond furious. Kent is a proud and ancient county, and our motto is Invicta, which means unconquered, undefeated or invincible. The irony of our shores being invaded day after day by men who have fled the safe country of France to come to the UK by choice is not lost on my residents. So I'm going to leave you with some unanswered questions. How many rapes is too many? How many sexual assaults is too many? When is this government going to wake up to the reality of what so many women and girls are experiencing? I believe this is now a national emergency and should be treated as such. Thank you.
Thank you. It's very passionate. Next is Layla, who's our Westminster City Councillor. She's been a councillor for 3 years. She's also a criminal lawyer, and I'm sure recently you've heard her passionately standing up for safety values and protecting our communities. All yours, Layla. Thank you.
Safety is the first duty of any government. If you cannot protect Britain, you have no right to govern it. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Labour and Conservatives, Britain is now lawless. My name is Layla Cunningham. I'm a Westminster City Councillor, a former senior Crown Prosecutor and a mum of 7. Our country's changed. I remember a time when calling the police meant they would actually come. Now, when my kids were robbed, police told me there weren't enough resources to send someone. I had to do the dangerous legwork myself over many weeks to catch the criminals. I risked my life and the press called me vigilante mum. Well, this campaign and reform is for every vigilante mum out there, for every parent who feels sick with worry when their kids leave the house, for every parent who's been looked down on, ignored and insulted, or worse, silenced, for everyone fighting to protect their family only to be told to calm down and shut up while the government places foreign rapists on their doorsteps. You are not alone. We see you, we hear you, and reform is coming to fight for you. From the start of this campaign, the press accused me of lying, of stirring up fear. I've prosecuted violent criminals. I've comforted victims. I've hugged my own children after they were robbed at knife point. This campaign is not spin for me. It's a reality. I've seen danger up close, and I can tell you the fear is not paranoia. It's the truth. When you cut visible policing, half stop and search, empty the prisons and only charge 6% of reported crimes, you hand control of our streets to the criminals. This isn't just failure, it's a dereliction of duty. And I'm angry because the very people who won our votes with promises of safety have done the exact opposite. Why are there no more police on our streets? Why isn't there a laser focus on knife crime? Why aren't people in balaclavas searched? Why are foreign rapists not deported? While these questions and many more still go unanswered, they have the audacity to force through the online safety bill, using child safety as a cover to gag dissent. And when we call it what it really is, censorship, They accuse us of being dangerous and siding with predators. A masterclass in double standards. A level of hypocrisy only matched by their deceit. These are the same people that refuse a national inquiry into the Pakistani rape gangs they protected for years. The same people that still house foreign rapists in hotels by schools and homes, and then act shocked when mothers protest. What do they expect? And if you need more proof that both parties have actively deprioritized our safety, ask yourself this. How can they find billions for foreign aid, 7 billion for Afghan refugees, some unvetted and dangerous, but not for more police, not for victims, and not for our children? And where are they when a boy is stabbed? Silent. Where are they when girls are groomed and raped? Silent. No policy announcements, no Cobra meetings, no billions, no elite squads. Those are reserved for censoring us. And then they take the knee. They bow the knee to ideology. Like the Crown Prosecution Service so-called policy on violence against women and girls. It states that it's actually gender neutral and inclusive of men who identify as women. That's not inclusion. That's deleting us from our own safety laws. The Tories took a policy meant to protect women and gutted it. What should have been a shield for us became a smokescreen for politicians. Because rape and sexual assault against women is an epidemic. Women are targeted because we are women. We face threats men will never face. And we want a government that recognises this, not an ideology that erases it. And that starts with a fearless leader who puts truth and safety first. Now imagine a government led by Nigel that treats safety of its people as sacred. One that stands between you and danger every hour, every day, and never flinches. Where the police are on your streets. Where every predator, gang member, and violent offender knows there is nowhere to hide. Where your borders are secure, your streets are safe, and your children, our children, can grow up free from fear. That is the Britain we deserve, and that is the Britain we shall have under reform. Because this country doesn't belong to the gangs, the predators, or the politicians that protect them. It belongs to us, the people who work hard, raise our families, play by the rules, and we deserve to live without fear. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. I love the vigilante mums. We need to get that trending. And finally, our newbie MP, Sarah. Now, she's only been an MP for 12 weeks, but already she's causing a stir. Sarah.
Well, I hope that's in a good way. And it wasn't so long ago that we started our summer crime campaign. And I think the first thing I said to you all was how lovely it was that I was alongside Layla and Nigel that day, and that you were looking at 2 formidable women now. And today, here you are looking at 4 formidable women, all speaking from the same hymn sheet about this very important issue. So first of all, I should say thank you all for coming. And what we're talking about today is a matter of national security. And that is the heightened and increasing threat to the safety and security of women and girls across this country. A threat that our own government is enabling. And as you've heard, we're talking about the daily influx of people who do not share our values, who do not share our culture, but who are being welcomed into this country, all at vast expense to us, the taxpayer. We know that on average 800 to 1,000 migrants are arriving illegally in Britain each week, 26,000 so far alone on what I hope people will stop calling small boats, because they're clearly not small boats, they're very large boats. And even on Saturday, I think there were, I read in the paper, 435 at Dover, arrived at Dover on Saturday. And all of these people are either checked into hotels or dispersed into houses of multiple occupancy, better known as HMOs, around the country. And there's disturbing news today in the press about how the Home Office liaising with private contractors to sweep up whole streets of houses, to take over blocks of houses. We know that officially there are 210 registered asylum hotels currently housing migrants in the UK. That's the figure as of July this year. Yet despite the government promising to close all of these hotels by 2029, we see the exact opposite happening, don't we? Even more being opened every day. From Cheshire to Norfolk, from Epping to Ashfield, few areas of the UK have remained untouched by this wave of state-supported illegal migration. The vast majority of these migrants are young, military-aged males. We can see it with our own eyes. We can see it from the media coverage. We hear reports of their documents, their identity documents being thrown into the Channel just as they approach Dover. They're not throwing away their smartphones, are they? But they throw away their documents just so they cannot be identified. And this helps them game our archaically generous and trusting immigration system until they're simply approved by attrition by the Home Office. And again today, there's headlines of 150,000 migrants that have just been lost in the system by the Home Office. We know that many claim to be children on these boats, despite being visibly over 18. How stupid do they think the British public is? And of course, they're all coming from France, which I think's been mentioned, which, to the best of all of our knowledge, is still listed as a safe place to visit by our Foreign Office. So despite arriving here illegally, despite fleeing a perfectly safe European country, despite lying about their age, they are all housed, clothed, fed, all at the expense of us. Eventually, they will find themselves moved from a 3- or 4-star hotel and dispersed into local housing, ahead of our local British citizens on housing lists. I hear these stories all the time in my constituency. Once in an HMO, we know, don't we, that they often disappear off the Home Office radar into the black economy and often into a world of crime. The police have no knowledge of who these individuals are because basic information is not collected when these people arrive in the country. Is any facial recognition done? No. Are DNA swabs taken? No. Anything to help our police and security services investigate and detect crime? Of course not. Why not? Because the left-wing lawyers will cry human rights. Well, I don't know if any of you have been to the States recently. My fingerprints were taken, my facial biometrics were taken. And if you've read recently in the press, Europe is about to do the same to us. So what is the problem? The truth is, we have no idea who we're letting in. No idea how many of them have criminal records or who might be a red flag to our security services. How many are drug dealers, murderers, rapists, spies for hostile regimes, terrorists? What we do know is that this government is being forced, kicking and screaming, to accept that foreign nationals are 4 times more likely to commit rape or sexual assault than British men. The inconvenient truth for the left is that the culture of men from predominantly Muslim countries, like Afghanistan, is one that holds a medieval view of women's rights. It is fundamentally alien to the centuries of progress made by our own Western culture and attitudes. Women are at risk of sexual assault and rape from these men. Hundreds of young men who arrive in this country, housed in our communities, who undoubtedly become sexually frustrated, have a warped view of their right to sexually assault women. Of the 1,453 sexual assault convictions in 2024, 25% were committed by foreign nationals. Afghan men are 3 times more likely to be convicted of a sexual offence than someone born in the United Kingdom, and represent the largest group of migrants who commit sexual violence against women. And yet we know that 18,000 at least were covertly let into this country by the last government with no security vetting. We hear shocking and disturbing stories of young girls, very young girls, who have been raped by these men. A 12-year-old in Nuneaton, an 8-year-old in Lambeth, raped. And what is this government doing to stop this? Pretending it isn't happening and persecuting those who stand up to protest. The first priority of any government is to protect its citizens. And yet this government is in denial that this is even happening. It's overseeing an establishment that is gaslighting us by hiding the facts. The data has been covered up for too long. This denial is nothing short of betrayal of our women and girls. And it's no wonder that we're now hearing about groups of concerned British men mobilising themselves into guardian angel-style street patrols, like the one funded by the philanthropist in Bedford. Street patrols out there to protect their daughters, their girlfriends, their wives, even their mothers. It's no wonder that we're seeing mass protests by concerned mothers outside these migrant hotels. Mothers who are afraid for the safety of their daughters. And why wouldn't they be when we hear that these illegal migrants are loitering around schools, around parks, men with deplorable attitudes towards women? I have stories from my own constituency of exactly this happening, of indecent exposure to young girls happening. Mothers will not let their children play out on the streets. A reform government will stop this betrayal of our women and girls. We will deport every illegal immigrant that sets foot on our shores. We will deport all illegal immigrants housed in hotels up and down this country. We will do everything we can to ensure that those dispersed in the HMOs are found and deported. We will deport all foreign national offenders in our prisons, ensuring that when they do get out, they are not free to walk on our streets. We will instruct our police to respond to every inappropriate sexual behaviour call by migrants against our women and girls. We will empower our Immigration Enforcement Division to detain them, to deport them, to raid town centre businesses along the way. And of course, we have to, and reform will, leave the ECHR and put an end to the lucrative merry-go-round of human rights-based appeals. We will stop this madness. It is a matter of national security, and only a reform government will protect women. Thank you.
As you've heard today, safety and security of the British people is a top priority for all at reform at every level. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next 4 years, we have this opportunity to demonstrate that reform is ready to take power in 2029. We've got great people like our council leader who's got power, and she's challenging the Uni-Party consensus. She's saving taxpayers' money. And I don't know if you heard yesterday from Reform HQ, already they've found £100 million in savings across councils in England so far and there's yet more to find. We control councils, 2 mayoralties. Our Mayor Luke, who is across in Hull, is on a sacking spree and is determined to root out the blob who will undermine his democratic mandate and deliver, as am I. My Deputy Mayor Ingrid and I, we are determined to deliver for the 1.1 million people of Lincolnshire. And what we've got planned for our county will be a microcosm of what reform can deliver in 2029. Now, you've heard from some of the many strong women from reform, heartfelt stories. I mean, it's very sad, isn't it, to hear that Layla's children have been mugged. This is Sadiq Khan's London for you. But these are just a snapshot. Every reform activist that I come across, every elected politician, they are all the same view. We're here to change Britain as it used to be. Now, we're standing up for both women and men. Now, we've seen the Blair's babes, for those of you who are old enough to remember them. The Cameron's cuties, to which I was one. Getting a bit older now, though. But I'm proud to be one of Farage's fillies. And as we are a new breed of politician, as the reform men are, we're a different breed. Welcome back to the era of conviction politicians and vigilante mums. Welcome to the era of politicians who are fighting for you, for our children, and fighting for Britain. We will protect you from the undocumented males who are arriving in Britain. We will protect you from the blob that try to indoctrinate your children with a ridiculous left-wing ideology. We will sort out the courts and the processes and protect women and children from domestic abuse. Look, I've been there. We need to change that system. We need the system to also recognise the personality disorders out there, although we'd probably get rid of half the Commons if we did that. Now, we will stand up for mothers, for fathers, for children and Joe Bloggs in the street. We will fight for your future so you all feel safe and you all prosper. We will fight for you, for the British people, the doers, the strivers, the builders who are the heartbeat of our country. When I joined Reform last year, I said I was joining the party of the brave. I hope today you can see we are the party of the brave. Ladies and gentlemen, our fabulous Nigel and all at Reform are listening. We are acting. We will get Britain back to being a country that we are all proud of. Now, this is the end of the press conference. There'll be some tables in there where we'll be doing one-to-ones, press interviews. But thank you. I hope you all realise we will get the country back on its feet. We will make you safe. Thank you.
Oh, is it these tables?
Guys, can I get you